listener production.
The creators of this podcast would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which it is recorded. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are the first storytellers of this land. We pay respect to their elders, past, present and emerging, as well as any Indigenous people who may be listening today.
Hello and welcome to TOFOP with Friends. I'm Charlie Clausen, he's Will Anderson, and we are joined by the man, the myth, the legend.
TOFOP with Friends, not FOFOP with Friends.
Oh my God.
You said FOFOP with Friends.
Jesus.
It's pretty easy, man. TOFOP with Friends. It was meant to get rid of FOFOP. It's not FOFOP with Friends. That makes it even more confusing for people.
I've got a lot to think about. This is a big day. It's a special day. We have James Fosdike, our artist in residence, or our resident artist.
Hello.
What do you say?
It's a FOSFOP.
Artist in residence?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Artist in residence. Our resident artist, James Fosdike, joining us for the countdown of the most popular episode, TOFOP Artworks. Foz, it was so difficult to name this. I mean, I know TOFArtchibald is what we landed on, but I don't know if I was going to say, I don't know if you've been listening. I fucking hope you've been listening because you've done all the subsequent artwork. But you heard that we had quite a few letters with people sending in their own ideas, and it proves that there is no good name for this competition.
Well, it brings up all the nicknames I was called in primary school and stuff like that, you know, like...
Fosdike was a very popular...
Well, my middle name's Martin, so it was James Fartin Fizzledick at one point, but...
James Fartin Fizzledick. Why did you not lead with that? This is what the competition should be called.
I mean, that sounds like the children's book we've been waiting to write, James.
Oh,
the amazing adventure. Yeah, the curious world of James Fartin
Fizzledick. Or Fuzzlecock, like, yeah.
Oh, that's right, Will. Every kid's book is centered around toilet humor. So this is what we should be making, James. The Adventures of James Fartin Fizzledick.
Yeah, can't stop farting out his dick. Like,
oh yeah, I mean that is classic. Comedian writes a children's book. Is like it's combining all the classics.
Bums,
like it's just a character that only. Yeah, but farts only come out the end of its dick. Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Does that mean he wheezes out his bum?
Yeah.
Well,
perfect.
We've got to work all this shit out. But yeah, maybe he shits out his mouth. Like,
and then now we might have to get the ages up a little.
Yeah, no, it was good.
It's been a very popular competition we've run. We don't run many comps on this show, but this I'm going to give you some stats just to show you like how enthusiastic the teabaggers have been about this. So we had almost 1,000 people cast almost 3,000 votes because they think they could choose like up to 3 bits of artwork of 3, 2, 1. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's 2 and 1. I'm not sure.
I mean, that is good though. That's a good statistic. That's a lot of people.
A lot of people and very enthused.
How many did you say? Sorry, my cat was annoying me.
Almost 1,000 people cast over 3,000 votes.
Yeah, right. Nice.
Benjamin Taylor was the last person to vote. Sam Screeber was the first to vote at 4 minutes past 4 a.m. on the very first day we launched the competition.
Wow. Nice work, Sam.
I believe Sam is based overseas and saw the post go up. So I don't know if it was like they were just waiting anxiously for it to go 4 a.m. so they could vote.
Yeah.
Now, without giving any spoilers away, do you feel sort of like you have a vibe on what's going to make the top 10 or even like the top 5?
I know the top 1. Like I always kind of knew.
Right.
What the first one was going to be.
I mean, when you say you know, do you mean you have a firm suspicion or you actually know?
Oh, well, we've been messaging on our WhatsApp and stuff and Charlie thought it was one thing and I thought it was another thing and I was right. Yeah.
Well, Charlie, for people who aren't watching the video of this, and of course you can watch the video of this, right, on our Patreon page. If you go to Patreon, you can watch the full video of this, I assume.
Correct.
So Charlie is now doing slideshow
PowerPoint presentation.
on the screen.
Yeah, I'm dazzled.
You're wondering why I was so frazzled, why I was so fizzed-dickled when we started the show.
Fosdike.
Because I've got multiple things going on here. I've got a PowerPoint presentation. I've got sound effects. I've got everything going. So we'll see what happens as we go into counting down the top 10. Little personal note. A lot of people wanted to know why Death on a Dick wasn't one of the available choices.
I was getting a lot of that. That was the most of my sort of social media interactions with people asking, "Where's Death on a Dick?" And
and the reason that Death on a Dick wasn't one of them was for that exact reason, that we know that if Death on a Dick had been one of them, Death on the Dick would have been the winner. So we can all assume that if you were able to vote for Death on a Dick, you all would have thought it was hilarious to vote for Death on a Dick, and Death on a Dick would have been the winner. So much
face.
Yeah, that's exactly. Cocky McCocklock would be the
well, like
winner
Taylor
of our
Swift is going to win the Hottest 100.
Yeah.
It was exactly that.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking when I drew that.
We don't know what you're
thinking. I could look at it and go,
I know exactly what you were thinking.
It was so graphic. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, was it – I think it was my intention to draw it more like some kind of, black creature or something like a dragon from How to Train Your Dragon or something like that. It did look
like something from like a deleted scene from the Never-Ending Story. It had that kind of who's the Brian Fround or, like maybe a Ralph McQuarrie
Brian
kind
Froud?
of like.
Yeah.
Brian Froud, yeah.
It's not I don't think it's your fault, James. And I think because the more grotesque you tried to draw it as a dragon or a creature, it just looked more and more like a grotesque penis.
Yeah.
And I blame God for the original design of the grotesque penis. It's not your fault. It's his.
It's true. You lionized the penis, if anything. You made it look spectacular.
I thought I
as good
was
as it
being,
could look.
showing that there are all kinds of dicks by finally drawing an uncut penis. They're usually all circumcised, and I think that shows a bit too much of my age.
Before we get into it, yes, we're going to take a look at the least voted image of the nominated images.
Great.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any idea of what this one might be? And I think this has more to do with the subject as opposed to your artwork.
Does that mean that there would have been, when you say least voted, are we talking about 0 votes or did it get some votes?
It got some votes, but it was the least popular.
Which means that some people still thought it was in their top 3 images if they've voted, though, right?
That's right. There was some affection for it.
Okay. But it's of some topic that people just didn't like the topic.
More a celebrity. And I think if you reach into your minds, and not just like the TOFOP sort of lore, but I think this celebrity is widely understood to be a bit of a dick, and it's not Russell Brand, which I thought would probably get in there as like the least favorite.
Yeah,
but it's a he, it's an actor. I'm going to do a drum roll and then I'm going to reveal. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
Nicely drawn. Yeah.
Episode 287. Imagination in brackets imagination.
No, imagine and in brackets imagination.
Sorry, imagine imagination.
Yeah, because it was like giving my heart to a fox. It was all that kind of song lyrics stuff.
Is that what it was?
He's taken out his heart and he's given it to a fox.
Did we break down like a 30 Seconds to Mars song or something like that?
Oh, God, probably. Yeah.
I mean, it does sound like something we would have done.
Yeah. My memory's not that solid on that one. But I remember, I think it was you, Charlie, just making up Jared Leto's song lyrics. And it was like, I gave my heart to a fox.
Oh, okay. That also checks out as well.
Yeah.
I do have a memory of, I love songs like I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that, where they put a brackets.
Yeah.
Like the songwriters, like I just need to put a little qualifier in the title of this song. So imagination does make sense. Okay, let's get into the actual countdown. Now, we had a couple of artworks finish on equal votes. In fact, we have 3 equal sevenths. So we're not going to have 10 individual artworks. We're going to have 8 of them. Is that right? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to roll the drum roll. Finishing in 8th position.
393 The Power of the Queen. Dark background with scary blue picture of Queen Elizabeth. Red eyes and lightning between her hands.
Okay, 8.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, the power of the Queen.
393, the Power of the Queen, with 103 votes, which is the very scary looking Queen Elizabeth II.
It's like Palpatine kind of, she's fully evil.
I love this one, but I remember posting this, and I think it was not long after her death, and I had a lot of monarchists very angry with me.
Yeah, fuck them. Like, who gives a shit? Like, what? Yeah. Fuck them. Like, honestly, if they were offended, then fuck, they got to look at what they're doing with their lives. Fucking gross.
I mean, we've had to stare at her face on our money for years. Like, if they can just stare at some cool, like, eyes glowing red image of her.
Just make her evil.
Yeah. What was the inspiration behind this one, Foz?
Wanting to not celebrate her as much as remind people that the actual monarchy is a bit fucked. And it was one where I put I don't know how you guys were talking about it, but I just had that kind of Palpatine image in my head, and I wanted to do that. Yeah.
Old ladies are good horror tropes. Like a demonic old lady is always a good horror trope because they kind of look a bit like demons anyway.
Scratching at the walls and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. Clambering like a bug up the wall across the ceiling. Yeah, I totally get it. All right, should we go to the first equal 7th?
Are you doing a drum? Yeah, there it is.
154 The Cult of TOFOP. Flames engulf an outstretched hand wearing glove with fingers in view. Hand is holding a cassette tape titled TOFOP Do Not Tape Over.
154.
That drum roll is not going to get old, by the way. Just hearing that over and over and over.
We're only doing it for the first 5, don't worry. I've got something else planned for the top 5.
Well, this is a classic.
154, The Cult of TOFOP. Now, I love this artwork, and I love this episode. I like everything about this. I'm surprised this one's come as low in the count that it has, I've got to be honest. Maybe it's just the simplicity of the image that perhaps has kept it from being in the top 5.
Yeah, I look at it and go, I reckon that would have taken as long as you guys pay for it. Like, that's great. I should do that.
This is one of your first, I think this is within the first 5 original artworks you did for us. I think I
started at 152, so this is my third one. Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is an absolute banger. I've got this I have this on my wall, and I have this as a T-shirt. This is an absolute classic. I can't actually remember what the episode. I mean, I know it was about the cult of TOFOP, but what the cassette tape and the Mad Max leather gloved hand and the fire, what it all.
It's about recording the podcast on cassette or something with the downfall of society, I think.
Yeah, it would have been post-apocalyptic. The cassette would have been passed around and it would have turned into some sort of religion or cult.
Yeah.
Based on that. I mean, it's all there in the image. Yeah. I can tell exactly what we talked about based on this image, and which is not always something that you can do. But as you said, James, one of the ones that would have actually taken the amount of time we pay you for, as opposed to maybe some of the ones we're going to see coming up in this count.
Well,
so for people who aren't up to date on it, how long would an image like that one have taken versus some of the more complicated ones?
Well, I look at it and go, all right, I've nicked some flames from your Fire at Will poster.
Yeah, that does look familiar.
So that
Exploding Chooks as well. I feel like they're the same flames from Exploding Chooks.
No, I reckon I drew those ones. Yeah, yeah. But that one is definitely, there's been a couple of times, Will, that I've done that, where I've taken a little element from your poster to fill it out. And so there's that one. And then I reckon that Russell Crowe one where, what was that Russell Crowe one? One Heart at a Time. Was the forest.
Is that the one where he had the nose bra, where he messaged you to say
nose bra.
What was with the nose bra?
My kid talks like that. Like, that's the way kids are talking now. Like, And he's all like when he's on the phone thing with his mates, he's all like, yeah, brah, like all this kind of stuff. He's 10, and it's just like, yep, that's coming back.
Is your son an Eshe?
Oh, I hope not. Yeah,
oh boy,
I'm trying
like he's turning into an Eshe. Congratulations, it's an Eshe.
Woo!
All right. Next equals 7th. Are you ready?
190 being John Wick. A play on the movie poster for being John Malkovich, except all the characters are holding up cardboard cutouts of Keanu Reeves' face.
Being nice. John Wick. I love this one. Again, this is another one I have on my wall.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
Cool. I believe I may have voted, because I voted.
Yeah.
I voted no. I'm against it in general. No. No, I think this was my number one vote. So I was one of those 109 votes. This was my number one vote. I love this. I have this framed on the wall in my office. Well, Beautiful. Actually not at the moment. I'm moving house, so it's packed up, but proudly on the wall of my office. Yeah. And this is one of my absolute favorites.
This was quite this was ahead of its time, Will, in terms of you probably didn't know that this was going to end up being your favorite film franchise when Foz created this. This ties in to, well, one thing you love and one thing you're obliged to do.
Yeah, I agree that I think the reason that I love it so much is partly because I love John Wick so much, and the idea that there are that many John Wicks, and the idea of being John Wick as a movie, and there being various spin-offs from the John Wick universe, including it being John Wick. I would be happy with all these things. So I guess, yeah, I am bringing in a lot of my own general good vibes about Keanu Reeves and John Wick into how much I love this image. But I also just think it's a fucking great image, like just the whole thing like makes me laugh.
Yeah, and I really did some shortcuts that aren't that apparent. Like, I think I might have I definitely only drew one John Wick face, but I only drew like one line of people, I reckon, and then just mixed them all up. So it doesn't become that
you can
apparent.
See that
but if you look at it, for a while.
How does it work with like copyright and stuff? Like, I know you've done some tributes to South Park and
my ears are blocked. La. Hang on. You get a cease and desist. You get a DCMA. You get a takedown I should be doing like a lot of other accounts on Redbubble. I
was going to say, well, you could just ignore them like everyone does to your cease and desist as well.
Fucking hell. So I've kind of given up a bit with that stuff these days. But I think with TOFOP and that, I think that's the fun of it, is to just throw that shit out the window and just draw whatever I feel like. And I think the secret to uploading it to Redbubble and stuff like that is to not tag those people so that when they type it in, they can find it. So I don't want to. Yeah, I'm giving inside information to people that want to steal my stuff now. But if you don't write in what it is, like Keanu Reeves and all that kind of stuff, and if I just write it in as episode 197 of TOFOP or whatever, then it will probably stay up there for a while longer. Yeah.
And with the people holding up the Keanu masks, are they taken from the
John
inspired?
Malkovich poster?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Inspired.
So they're wearing the same clothes and everything?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Well, apart from the power of the Queen, so far we've gone old school. This is like within the first 50
It's nice.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
You
past.
picked early, I think.
No. I like seeing how I used to draw versus how I draw now.
That is true. There's a stylistic change.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is our last equal 7th.
Equal 7.
197 The Big Reveal. Charlie and Will are illustrated as Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. Bert is holding a blunt.
Speaking of copyright infringements, I love this one. And I know this is one of Gemma's favorites, because for her, it's like something that she had not been able to put her finger on. But when she saw this, she's like, oh my God, this is exactly who you guys are. It fits.
Yeah.
Do you just put Will's hair on Bert and Ernie?
Yeah.
On Ernie? Or
I
Bert?
think so. Sorry. No. I put your ears down as well, and I made Bert's ears like Will. Bert's ears like Will, and Ernie.
No.
Which one's Bert?
Ernie's. Hang on, which one's which? Oh, yeah, Bert's the yellow one.
Bert's the yellow one, right? Yeah, so he's got the wheelie ears. I definitely put your ears a little lower because that's just the classic thing, and then gave you smaller puppet hands.
Oh, I didn't even notice a smaller puppet.
See, it's that level of detail.
Yeah. I love Will's also like his denim shirt, like rolled up to the elbow.
The chambray.
And smoking a joint.
Yeah. But now it would be the Run the Jewels stuff, I think. I think you've swapped out of your wardrobe, Will.
I mean, I still have that same shirt.
Yeah.
I literally still have that same shirt.
All right, let's move on. We're out of the 7th now. We're into 6. And then this is the last. Do you want to say this is the last?
I reckon that's still up on Redbubble too, by the way, that Bert and Ernie one.
That's really that Bert and Ernie one, by the way. Like if people want to get it on Redbubble. If they want to go to your specific Redbubble to buy stuff from you specifically, James, which
Mr.
is exactly
Foz.
what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Mr. Foz on Redbubble.
Yeah. Because I'm sure you can type my name and you can type your name in or whatever, and you might not get my actual account, and you'll get a shit T-shirt that's not printed
I've
very
done
well.
that. You don't go to Redbubble and type in. I mean, don't type in TOFOP merch because that'll take you all kinds of horrible places.
But
there'll be a link in the episode description, of course, where you'll find most of these artworks, where you can get them on a shower curtain or a T-shirt or whatever you want to print it on. Let's get to 6th. Okay, this is the final drum roll. I don't know if you guys have any words for the drum roll before you say goodbye to it, Phil.
Bye, drum roll.
Okay.
Fuck off, drum roll. See ya.
400 Magpie propaganda. A magpie stares deadpan. Beside him is a human eye that's been ripped from its socket.
Ooh, interesting. Controversial modern choice.
It's a classic.
Now, this is
instant classic.
magpie propaganda. Yeah. So this is the magpie with an eyeball just like ripped out of somebody's head. And I've been thinking about this magpie art quite a lot recently as it's come back into magpie season, and I got swooped twice recently on a walk by a magpie.
I got swooped last week. After I've been giving them props constantly, I love the magpie. It's one of my favourite birds. And then I shat all over the myna, right? So, because I fucking hate the myna, the noisy myna, because they're just prolific around the river. But in the last couple of weeks, the mynas have shown me where the snakes are. Like, I've been watching like just these mynas just swooping down and attacking snakes as they go through the grass. So, keep my dog on the lead and they'll knock out the snakes for me. Yeah. But getting swooped by a magpie at the same time, I'm like, fuck, I've been sticking up for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, the magpies seem to be out in force like this season. I think buoyed by the success in the football, obviously won the grand final. They've like been out about proud and swooping all over the place. And also like a lot of bird fights in my neighborhood I've noticed recently. Like there is so many bird fights going on.
Most of the time.
Birds attacking other birds, mid-air bird fight.
Really? It's bird fights.
Bird on bird violence. It's out of control.
It's bird fights. If you hear, like, I've heard this, like when the kookaburra laughs, right? I've seen it, and it's had some kind of baby something in its mouth, just smashing it against a branch to death, like, and then just swallowing it, Like,
and then just laughing maniacally. You always thought the kookaburras had like a good sense of humor, but it turns out they are
more of a
evil motherfuckers.
Sociopaths. Can you be a sociopath in the animal kingdom, or is that just a purely human thing? Like, what does the socio refer to? Is it any kind of socialization? Is there socialization in the animal kingdom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can animals be sociopaths or psychopaths? Here we go. This is good.
Little mini episode of TOFOP while we're here.
I remember just one picturesque morning, like taking George, Amy taking George to school, and we're like leading him outside, and it was just that beautiful morning light, and it was just this kookaburra. I'm like, there's a kookaburra on the fence, and it's got something in its mouth, and it's a baby bird, and it comes down on the road in front of us and smashes it into the road over and over again, and you just see the the down of the baby bird just floating off into the. That's
horrifying.
Off to school. Have a good day.
The world is a scary and cruel place.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
I don't think the animals can be psychopaths or sociopaths, but I did find somebody who's pretty convinced their cat is a narcissist.
My magpie tormentor has gone AWOL. I think something's happened to him. Or I've avoided for about a week and a bit because there's a different path I can take to get to the gym. But then I've been going back the same way and nothing. And he started early, so I'm wondering if he got burnt out or he just had shit to do. So it's like I better get the swoop-ins in now.
Yeah,
because I'm going on holiday in October or something.
I've seen a few of those videos, Charlie. That was a particularly aggressive magpie, I have to say.
Yeah. And
maybe he's been recruited to a different area, moved to the city. Maybe that's the one I've been running into.
Well, at one point, that magpie had help. Like at one point I was riding and there was two magpies swooping me at the same time, like taking it in turns. And he
put on an apprentice.
Yeah, right.
I think so. Because I think the thing about magpies is they love fear. It's like they feed off fear. Mm-hmm. And because I wasn't reacting, I was so used to it, I would give him nothing. So he was doing full like body slams into my helmet, really trying to kind of get a reaction, and I wouldn't give it. So then he brought me on the apprentice. But then I think I'm just not a good mark anymore. Like he's not getting what he needs
putting
from
the
me.
Steve Buscemi eyes on
it. You missed that, Will, because you're not. Are you on social media, Will?
No, so I don't like to mention it, but I'm not on social media. What is this eyeball? Is it a particular eyeball or just a generic eyeball?
I think that's me typing in, human eyeball prop or something like that, and getting something that I can draw from and draw it realistically. Yeah, I think something that was sitting on the ground, adding a bit more goo and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say the goo though. Like, did you go to like a medical journal, like a Grey's Anatomy or something like that?
No, I prefer to go to special effects like props and stuff like that. So
that's creepy. Yeah.
I still get the, all the other stuff. Like you type in anything these days, you get the most grossest version of it. Like, what's wrong with my?
Because my dad was a dentist. I think I've talked about this before. We grew up with, many medical journals and Grey's Anatomy in the house. Have you ever heard them described as a poor man's porno?
No. Poor man's porno.
Because I remember as a young man coming into manhood, I would flick
coming
through.
into the Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I used to wank to it as a little kid.
No.
And then my sister mentioning that it's a poor man's porno, and I was so shamed by that. She wasn't specifically making reference to me.
No.
Maybe she was looking through the keyhole, Charlie.
No.
Oh, no. You weren't singing into your hairbrush. You were.
It's a medical journal. That's not appropriate.
Yeah, when you're 12 years old, though, you're desperate to see anything. Even drawn boobs will get you there.
Yeah.
No.
I told you that story last time I was on about my mate, Bart, who was like, I'm going to draw the ultimate woman to masturbate to and just look like a mutant. And he was like, what the hell?
That's like the premise of Weird Science, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, your confidence outweighs your ability. And but who cares? You just need to wank. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to fifth. Now, I haven't listened to all of these, but Mike the Third has prepared a little package, a little teaser for the top five. So you should be able to glean what artwork will be revealed when we have this little discussion.
Baz,
you
ever seen a Wookiee twerk?
Fuck, there would be a twerking Cardi B would come out
and twerk.
No, doo-wop.
Twerk.
There would be
Wookiee ass pussy.
410 Wet Ass Wookiee. A picture of a Wookiee from Star Wars twerking in a sexy way.
A little bit of poetic license. Wet Ass Wookiee episode 410.
I just had to change that around a little. Yeah.
I
don't think
that's
Wookiee
fine.
ass pussy. Bit too graphic.
Yes, but Wet Ass Wookiee is actually a good punch up for me. I like it. I was a bit mad when I saw that I didn't actually go with that myself.
Well, when you're in the heat of the moment, I've got a bit of time to think about it, Yeah. A bit different.
You've seen my draft, and then you can have a little punch up.
Yeah.
And so who was the model for the Wookiee? Is this actually Cardi B, or did you just find a general pumping?
Absolutely.
That is Cardi B.
Yeah. Yeah. I've used a specific shot of Cardi B on that and a cryptid called what is it? The Nightcrawler?
I love a cryptid.
Nightcrawler or Nightwalker or something like that. It was on Bunta Vista.
What's a cryptid?
Is like a supernatural creature, like
your Bigfoots and
like the moth.
Yeah,
Loch Ness monster. Any supernatural monster is a cryptid.
And this one.
So what is it called? What did you say it was? The Nightcrawler. I'm going to look it up.
Nightwalker or the
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler cryptid. And so is he like a Sasquatch type or something?
Well, it's just like this pair of legs with eyes on the top. Like, that's what it basically looks like.
Looks like a wishbone.
Yeah. And
so I drew one
all caked up. So, yeah, I think that's the way they were describing it on Bunta Vista. So, yeah, that was a little inspiration from another podcast.
How is that inspired the Wookiee? I don't I don't see the crossover.
I drew using the same arse shot. Like I drew this Nightcrawler image, just with the arse and just a head. Like, yeah, it looked really funny.
Well, speaking of Bunta Vista, it's probably worth letting people know that coming up for the whole month of October on TOFOP with Friends, Ben McClay is joining me, one of the hosts of Bunta Vista, for a supernatural series of podcasts.
Ben. He's so cool.
He's very funny.
And he's so lovely too. Like, yeah, there's just something about him that I really dig. Like he's just a beautiful human being, and I'm glad.
And so when you say so give us some more information about this podcast.
Yeah, what's it going to be called, Charlie?
So it's called TOFOP's Unexplained Explained, and it's Ben and I as the two founding members of the North East Australian Paranormal Society, otherwise known as NEAPS. We investigate a different paranormal phenomenon each week. So episode 1 is poltergeists. Episode 2 is the Yowie, which is Australia's Bigfoot. Episode 3 will be UFOs, and I don't know what episode 4 is yet because we haven't recorded it. But Ben has a very large personal collection of paranormal tomes.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like Scully to my Mulder. No, I'm Scully to his Mulder. Well, we're both kind of Mulders and Scullys at the same time. It's nothing like the X-Files. I don't know why.
That analogy fell apart pretty quick. That might be a new Guinness World Record for an analogy.
Just a couple of Mulder Scullys, we are.
All right, let's get to the next artwork.
But I enjoyed that Wet Ass Wookiee. That turned out well. That's one where I can look at and go, yeah, that worked out really well. Like I painted all that hair and it looks like a Wookiee with a big ass, and where you just get it right and you just one of those rare times that I'm like proud of myself.
And thankfully, Star Wars is now owned by Disney, who are famously not very litigious when it comes to
it should be fine.
Copyright infringement.
Yeah, well, again, I didn't type in anything, guys, when I put it up there.
Let's give them some ideas about some spin-offs. They're looking for more creative ways to exploit the IP they have.
Oh, they could totally do that. Yeah.
You know what?
Get Cardi B to voice
a Wookiee.
Like a sexy Wookiee.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or what about in the second season of Hustle and Flow? No, what's it called? Ryman and Steelin'. What's that rap show we liked?
Hustle and Flow.
What was it called, Will?
It is Hustle and Flow.
Rhythm and Flow? Yeah, Rhythm and Flow maybe.
I can't remember. But what about Cardi B does the entire second series in a Wookiee outfit?
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking, does sex even exist in Disney? Like, or is it storks?
Well, yeah, isn't there that thing in The Lion King where the lion
Rhythm
lies
and
down and
flow.
it spells out sex with the flowers?
Yeah, exactly. You got to hide it, like in all Disney stuff. You know, all the Marvel.
Yeah, at the moment they have to, but
there's nothing sexy about any of the Marvel, Star Wars, Disney stuff. There's no fucking. There's no.
Well, I guess like Star Wars was a little ahead of its time of where porn was going in the sense that Luke and Leia have that very passionate kiss.
Yeah,
that's pre-Disney. You see,
in Empire. So it's like, I can't believe this happened to me. My stepsister, not even my stepsister, isn't he? They're like twins, right?
Yeah, something like that. It's definitely incest. Yeah.
All right, here is another package that Mike III has put together for number 4.
Maybe.
Oh my God, should we do a calendar? A Larry Pickering style calendar, but not with celebs, because that feels a bit invasive. But is there something that we can do where James gets to add dicks to something popular in popular culture? What would it be? What would it be?
I'm glad that this has gone from a conversation about censoring penises to now be like, maybe we can put out a calendar.
It is the very recent Censoring Foz, episode 463.
463 Censoring Foz. Charlie is dressed as a nun. Will peers from behind wearing a leather jacket, holding up his sunglasses, eyebrows raised.
This makes me feel really good. We've got something from like 2 or 3 episodes in, and then you've got something from 3 episodes ago. So
that's right.
That makes me feel really good. Yeah,
you've maintained an excellent standard of artwork.
This is, as I've said to you, because you're always the one that pulls me up, Charlie, and I always think of you as a nun. So it was really nice to be able to draw you as that nun for this. And how that
I've got to be. This is just such a beautiful image too. It just looks cool as fuck. Honestly, it's just such a striking. It's kind of mostly in black and whites, or at least in that very neutral. Not a lot of color in it, but just the shape of it all, the nun's outfit,
leather jacket,
how that's all put together. It just looks
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It has the look of like a screwball 80s comedy.
Absolutely.
Will is Corey Haim. I'm Corey Feldman. It's some buddy cop comedy.
Yeah. 100% looks like if TOFOP ended up making a movie that was based on some weird premise where you've had to that this is what it looks like for sure.
But then you'd have to do some work, guys. And that'll never fucking happen.
The expressions on our faces are so perfect, in what you're trying to convey, me being the stern kind of nun and Will being the bad boy. I guess the
Mr. Cool going, what's this guy doing? with his thing. Because, behind the scenes, and you've talked about it a bit, but I haven't. I was really amused by how that all went down, Charlie, because after, we did the 10% extra on the tip and all that, I think Mike sent a message through saying, by the way, Foz, everyone at Listener was cool with it. So I'm like, all right, so it's just Charlie.
Did Mike say that?
It's just Charlie wanting the Christian television workshop in the sponsors,
Mike said that. I'm not sure that Mike actually that was true.
I believe it. I believe it. It's given me the go ahead to get more and more graphic through the years. Let's just see how gross I can get before there's nothing that can be shaded. You might just see a pure black image that's just been 100% shaded.
Can I ask, with these more photorealistic versions of us, how much more time consuming, because it looks so great, but how much more time consuming?
Yeah, it takes a lot longer.
Yeah, because I'm looking even at my beard, and you've You've nailed it. Like if I just got sent the beard, I'd recognize that as being my beard. Like even the grey, it's everything about it is perfect.
Yeah, I've got some good photos for both of you now, I think. Like, yeah, I've so I'm able to go through and find the ones but I think yours might have been just an in-between shot of the photo shoot we had in my backyard. Like,
no, I recognize this. You've got this from
or is it one of your headshots?
From IMDb, yeah. Maybe it's something I
serious.
sent you because this is from a headshot because I did a series of headshots when I had a beard because I'm like, I might keep this beard. This might be worth getting done. Yeah. And then I quickly went back to not having a beard because apparently on TV you can't have a beard. They don't like beards in Australia.
They don't trust people with beards. Don Burke ruined it for everybody. Yeah.
Unless you cost us.
So here's this one I know is more realistic too because it looks more like my actual hair.
Yeah.
As opposed to the James Fosdike extreme cartoonish version of my hair. That mostly this one is actually like, oh yeah, that is actually what my hair mostly looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Other times I'll just go with the shark fin it's kind of like a dollopy shark fin, like a creamy shark fin. that I'll go cartoon-wise. Yeah.
All right. We're down into the final three. And once again, Mike III has put together a little taster. How does a child respond to extreme humiliation?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they got government funding.
What happens if you put, an untrained child in this professional environment? But we needed to do it in each state to get a good read on this.
280 until we die. Two skeletons wearing headphones and holding microphones embrace, their skulls touching.
Ah, yes. TOFOP until we die.
Now, this was your pick.
Yeah, this is my favorite. I think this could be our regular TOFOP artwork. It's quite romantic
you say that,
as
Charlie,
well.
You know that irks me whenever you say that. I know you mean it as a compliment, but it's the equivalent of saying that thing you spend a day on is better than that thing you spend a month on. Like, you know?
I don't think it's better. No, it's totally down to personal. It's totally subjective, but I just love this one. And I think it perfectly sums up how we feel about the show sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, James, is there a version of this that without the I guess there isn't because you wouldn't have drawn the rest of the bodies, but because I've always been I've always thought, I'd love to get a TOFOP tattoo at some stage, right?
Really?
But I don't want one that is but I don't want one that's too branded. I don't want it to say TOFOP or I just want it to be something that is that I know is a TOFOP one, but is kind of just looks like a cool tattoo regardless. And I've always felt like this image would make a good tattoo. I mean, without the TOFOP, but
you can't, Will.
Why?
Because I have a tattoo, not of that, but here you'll see, which is a drawing Jen did for me 15 years ago, which is two skeletons embracing into they make a little love heart shape. There's two skeletons cuddling. And so I've got that one. So I think it would.
No, that would be weird.
How long have you had that?
Since Jem did the drawing 15 years ago. I got the tattoo maybe 7 years ago.
Jeez, I thought I knew most of your body, Charlie.
Well, that's Charlie. You've got to send James some topless shots.
No. You can just stick with your Grey's Anatomy. You don't need to see.
I think in the first few episodes of The Dollop, when they did the tickling episode, that was before I drew the profile art, right? So I drew the note that that Gareth sent to the tickle guy that said something like, what was it? Ticklish? You betcha. Gay? No way. Or something like that. It was something like that. And I just put it on his belly as a tattoo. And then that fooled Dollop fans into thinking he actually did have that tattoo. And then I did a Photoshop of Gareth, where he's got a shot, one of his shots where he's just showing his belly. And I just Photoshopped that on really well, so it just looked real. And now there'd be a bunch of Dollop people out there that think that Gareth actually has that tattoo. So it's nice. You can fool people really easily.
Yeah, I think this, as easy as it was for you to draw Foz, this is just like you can see it on like t-shirts. You can see it on like lighters. Like it has such Dangerfield marketability, not Patrick Dangerfield, but Dangerfield, the emo store.
Yeah.
Like this could be a secondary market for us where we just pander to emo teens.
I mean, there's detail in it as well, James, that I appreciate, because it's not just the two of us, the skeletons of the two of us, but with the headphones on, the microphones, but the fact that there are like these cobwebs in the background, these faintly drawn cobwebs in the background, I appreciate that detail. Unnecessary, but beautiful.
Well, we'll talk off air about I would fill it out for you if you wanted it as a tat. I don't think that Charlie has any right to decide what goes on your body.
No, you can if you want to get it.
I'm certainly not going to get mine where Charlie got his.
Oh, yeah. I don't recommend the ribs as a place to get a tattoo. It's excruciating. So excruciating. Well, Jem got the same tattoo on the other side, so we've got matching. So on her left ribs, she's got hers on my right ribs. But she kicked up much less of a fuss when she got hers than when I got mine.
You sent me, you were at an exhibition at some stage, and you sent me a photo. Was it this?
Oh, right. Yeah. I was there was some art exhibition in Byron Bay, and it was a very similar image. It was skeletons in headphones.
Yeah. And I think I was looking at it.
There was no one in connection to me. I didn't know the artist or anything like that. I wasn't suggesting that they had stolen, but it was. It could have been
so similar. Yeah.
So similar. Yeah. All right, let's get to number 2.
It turns out that Faltermeyer still alive and ready to fucking go, because
really?
His real name. So, firstly, I love this.
Okay.
So, Hans Hugo Harold Faltermeyer. So he's Triple H Faltermeyer. So
Triple H.
Oh boy, guys, that was fantastic.
Oh boy, that was really
good. And of course, that led to the creation of this artwork.
Of course it did.
296 for old men now. Will and Charlie illustrated as Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets.
Now this is
yet another.
This is so.
I
mean, this was one of those ones that I'm surprised. The two old guys from the Muppet Show. Statler and Waldorf, of course, we're old men now. Like the fact that it took us until episode 296 for this to be one of the images is the thing that actually stuns me. I've got to be honest.
It's nice. It turned out well, and again, like your faces do match those guys. Like, the shapes and all. Mm. But again, I've moved Charlie's ears down. I can see that. And
I just didn't realize.
We are essentially like any classic puppet duo.
That's right.
I do love that you've given me the hooded eyes of, I don't know which is which, the one without the hook nose. The hooded eye one. But
I don't know which one is Statler and which one is Waldorf.
That kind of suit. Did you change their noses as well, or is that their puppet noses? They look like that.
I might have changed their noses a bit. Yeah. Add that little bit of you, Yeah.
No, I see it. I see it 100%.
Waldorf is the one with the rounder face, white hair and mustache, while Statler has the longer face, bushy grey eyebrows and cleft chin.
Right. And I remember adding a little bit of dialogue on the merch for this. So it was something like, you saying the kids are all on crack, Charlie. The kids are on crack and no, I made it up. It was like the kids are on crack and they're stealing my bins, and something like, and Will was like, my hips are always having a crack or something like that. Like, it worked a bit better than that, but it was.
It's very rare to see a full length shot of a Muppet. Is this based on a still image from like the Great Muppet Caper or something like that? Yeah.
But this one is good. I can see why this one has done so well. It's a good, strong image, but also like this two old men having a comedy conversation where we just mutter about how we don't understand everything. It really does sum up what the podcast is all about.
And with that, let's move on to number one. We all had our suspicions. We all think we know what it is.
What? He got beaten up by a cow and kicked by the largest horse in Norway.
Like, firstly, do you know what the largest horse in Australia is? Is that a thing that people know?
No.
What the largest horse in a country is? Have you ever, like, heard any talk about large horses?
Wasn't there?
I mean, of course it was going to be that.
Yeah.
320 truly, the biggest horse in all of Norway. A beautiful and gigantic black horse stands on a cliff edge looking over a body of water. A teenage Norwegian boy stands next to him to demonstrate how big the horse actually is.
Like you thought, Charlie, James mentioned this early in the podcast, which was that in the WhatsApp group, you dropped in that you suspected that it might be Until We Die.
Until We Die, the skeleton one.
Yeah, the skeleton one, which is coming in third. So you were pretty close. I was surprised that Statler and Waldorf have made it to second. I've got to be honest.
Me too.
That one did surprise me a little that it was so high. But it has not surprised me in any way that episode 320, truly the biggest horse in all of Norway. I knew it was going to be one of the horse ones. I didn't know necessarily which one. I actually thought it might have been when we discovered that the horse had risen from the dead. But this... the biggest horse in all of Norway. What an iconic episode of the show and what an iconic image.
Well, I think it was the episode after the biggest horse because I didn't have time to draw the biggest horse that week.
Yeah.
So it was just like, please mention it the following week.
The horse was too big.
Yeah.
Luckily, we didn't stop mentioning it for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, that was the first time, Foz, you've actually ever influenced us to talk about something because you sent me a very hurried text saying, hey, I really want to draw the biggest horse in all of Norway. Can you make sure you mention it in the next episode? Which, as Will said, we then mentioned, and we mentioned it so much it got its own series. I think there might have been
a spin-off, Joey-style spin-off.
Do you think there was some recency bias by the fact that we did have that mini-series, the biggest stories in all of Norway, that people got to like hear from Elias himself and it was sort of more recent in people's minds?
I mean, I think this is the classic combination, right? It is like, it was a great storyline from the world of TOFOP, an incredibly TOFOP-style storyline, the biggest horse in all of Norway, but also just a beautiful piece of art. I mean, this horse.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, this is how I imagine the horse. Yeah. The long flowing mane.
Yeah. It's probably this
looking over a fjord or lake or something.
Thing, you know, like, yeah. Whereas it could even be Elias, you know. Didn't even know what he looked like at the time. Right. But it could be him. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think this is part of actually this trio of artworks, Truly the Biggest Horse, The Death of the Horse, and The Resurrection of the Horse are my absolute favorites. The Resurrection
missing
two.
Biggest
Horse in Hell.
No, it was a 5-horse series, guys. The other two weren't as good on my end. They were the horses in a race, like I was drawing racing horses. And then there was the Dawn horse, which was a fucked up horse, like a horse that was stretching out like a cat kind of thing. Like it was a really weird horse.
I don't remember this one.
Yeah, you were discussing like the first horses. And it was this.
That's right. I remember. And there was the description of the horses. Didn't look like the horse. Yeah. The beautiful modern day horses that we imagine.
Bit wrong. Yeah. And so the beauty of the horse was taken away for those two. And I think they both suffered for it, you know. Oh, well, I think the Dawn horse is drawn for that reason. But
I mean, this one though, truly the biggest horse in all of Norway. Like this is so impressive that even the name of the show, TOFOP, is in the background. Like the horse
you can barely
is up front here, right? It's all about the horse.
Yeah. Yeah, I love to obscure the logo, but that's taking it to another level, really. You can almost read it. Like, yeah. But I think horses are probably one of the more popular animals that I've drawn in TOFOP. I think horses come up a lot. Like, I think I've drawn even John Wick throwing a horse at a guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, again, I keep saying it.
That's when the great worlds come together. Keanu Reeves and a horse.
Yeah.
I keep saying it, but that is also on my wall. This is a beautiful poster. And the good news is we are giving away 10 of these posters assigned by all three of us to 10 lucky winners, chosen at random. I had nothing to do with this. Those winners are Bonnie Dixon, Jordan Krier, Michael Powell, Shane Harman, Brad Ellmoos, Stephanie P, Yasmine Jackson, Luke McCarthy, Stacey B, and Nick Gibson. Congratulations. You're all winners. And truly, all of us are winners, having brought James Fosdike into the TOFOP world and being so blessed to get new artwork each week.
Thank you.
Sometimes offensive, sometimes endangering our ability to get a sponsor, but always fun.
Well, I mean, the death on a dick again, like it wasn't something that I look at it and I've got no excuse. Like maybe it was something where you guys weren't responding and I'm like, is anyone there? Maybe that was the kind of
a cry for attention.
Yeah. Like, you guys are going to have to say something about this.
Sometimes people just act out. Any type of attention is good attention.
Yeah, to give you that content, and I really enjoyed the turnaround from you, Charlie, like, as to how can we monetize Foz's perversions or whatever. Like, and I really think we should do something with that. Like, my thinking on it is, that we do a calendar.
Yes, Larry Pickering calendar.
And maybe you keep saying Larry Pickering.
He's a terrible
love
person.
Muslims.
He's a terrible person.
Larry Pickering women as equal. And I'm not drawing Julia Gillard with a fucking strap on or whatever he did. But my ambition with the penis is to not present it as such an angry thing, but to celebrate its ridiculousness as and this might be a bit of a hint as to the artwork for the next TOFOP episode, which will be in 2 weeks' time, I think. But I even wrote it down. This might be a hint. But can you read that?
I cannot.
It says it's from one of my favourite lyricists, Ani DeFranco, and it's describing a penis, and I'll read it to you.
Okay. This is a good thing to go out on. We'll get ready for hard out.
A little baby bird fallen from the nest. Now that is how she describes a penis, like that she's cradling in her hands. Yeah. And I think that is one of the most beautiful descriptions of a penis. Like there is nothing angry about it. It's a placid little baby thing, like just
protected by an angry magpie.
It's gonna get swooped down and chopped up by a kookaburra and smashed against the road. Yeah, but that's what I'm drawing next week. Once I've finished Will's poster, I'm not drawing the little baby bird falling from the nest. Don't worry. But I'm drawing Arnold Schwarzenegger mixed with Ani DeFranco. So
okay, all right. Well, I wish I could say I look forward to seeing it, but I know it's going to give me anxiety.
Thank you to everyone who voted, though. It's amazing that everybody voted. It's really fantastic, and really, we just wanted to do something to celebrate the incredible art that Foz does for our podcasts, and to really highlight, just looking back over like all those episodes and all those pieces of art that you've done, there's so many brilliant, iconic images. And yes, let's talk off air about getting a tattoo that I can actually get so that I can have an original Fosdike on my arm.
Yeah, I do really appreciate it. And I appreciate the freedom you give me to do this stuff, even though I act like a sour little bitch from time to time. Because this last few months has just been ridiculous in terms of like Charlie's like, where's the profile art? Oh, now where's the live show poster? And I'm like, motherfucker, which one do you want first? Like, do you want me to work it on both hands? Like, so it's just been from one thing to the next. Cool Guy
Will actually has a tour has a tour poster that James actually gets paid reasonally decently to work on.
I've got your management hassling me at the moment about getting
Whereas
that.
I'm Cool Guy, whatever. It's totally cool.
But that's what I'm drawing at the moment. Is Will's poster is due on Monday, so it's like, I'm finishing off that at the moment, and I've been drawing it all week, and it's looking nice, but bags under my eyes, guys.
You look like me as Statler and or Waldorf.
That's right.
Foz, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Just a reminder to those winners of the posters, the prizes will be James Fizzledick. The posters will be sent out to you in December, just in time for Christmas. So
December 2024, right?
Yeah, no, December of this year. Thank you, Foz.
All right,
Get back to work,
guys. Will do.
Everyone relax. Fucking stupid.
Listener.